12th District State Senator Brad Lager is a candidate for Lieutenant Governor.
Good evening. As you said, my name is Brad Lager, and I'm running for Lieutenant Governor. I'm a small business owner from Northwest Missouri. I actually grew up in a small community, Ravenwood, Missouri, actually. I went to college at Northwest Missouri State, and my wife Stephanie and I now live in Savannah. I'm the 12th District State Senator. I have the 16 counties, so everything north, essentially about the northern third of the state. And Stephanie and I have 2 kids. We have a 4-year-old little girl and a 7-month-old little boy. And so for all the parents in the room that understand what it means when you have a newborn at home, we're back into diapers. We just got out of it, and we're back into diapers. But every time that I spend time with Andrew, I'm always reminded of that famous quote by Ronald Reagan when he said that government is much like a baby. It has a very large appetite at one end and absolutely no restraint at the other. You know, if you look at where we are as a state, we are in a very critical time. And if you look at what's happened to our state over the last decade, over the last 100 years, it's very concerning. You know, in the last 100 years, only 2 states in our nation have not had double-digit economic growth in at least 1 decade. Missouri is one of those 2 states. If you look at in 1900, Missouri had 16 congressional delegates. Today we have 8, which means the rest of the country has grown twice as fast as we have. If you take the real growth of GDP, so the real growth of every state's economy, and you rank all 50 states for the last 10 years, Missouri is number 48 out of 50. Well, I don't know about you guys, but I find those results unacceptable. And you know, I think we're at this crossroads. We're at this crossroads where we have to ask ourselves, what do we want the future of our state to look like? Do we want it to look like that of California and Illinois and Michigan? Or do we want to look more like Texas and Indiana and Florida? Well, the answer is pretty easy for me. And I'll tell you that in order to make that change and to change where our state's going, the status quo has to go. If you can't change the status quo until you change our current leaders. The reality is, where we are today, I believe, does not represent who we can be. You know, as I look to the future, I have a pretty simple philosophy about all of this. I actually believe in the private sector. I actually believe that the private sector is the best way to meet the challenges of our society. I actually believe that the private sector and the consumers of the private sector should decide who the winners and losers are, not government, not politicians. I actually believe that if we put our faith in the private sector, we will have an economy that will thrive and prosper. You know, it's pretty simple. You're either a person that believes in bigger government or you believe in smaller government. And I would humbly submit that our country is great in spite of government, not because of it. So if you believe like me, if you believe in better government, not bigger government, if you believe in government that is reasonable, that's fiscally responsible, and is accountable to the taxpayers that it serves, and you believe that we need elected officials who don't just articulate our values, but who live our values and who will govern by our values, then I'm standing before you today. I'm asking for your help, I'm asking for your support, and I'm asking you to please consider voting Brad Lager for Lieutenant Governor. Thank you very much.